What's up, and welcome to Lunchtime in the Lab, your number one gambling podcast for quick picks. A little bit of analysis that goes along with it. Turn my voice off here. A little frazzled. Nice little learning moment for my son. I hear a crash come from the kitchen. He knocked down the whole vase of flowers for my wife's birthday, which is actually on Valentine's Day. So realistically, they were 11 days old. So they were probably about time to be thrown away anyway. But there's this little cutout that goes from our kitchen to our living room. And he likes to stand on the couch and like play with his cars. And he must have knocked something over. And I came running out, ready to put the fear of God in him. And I could already see that he was crying and terrified. So I only yelled at him for a second and let it go. But man, Oh, that's frustrating. So I cleaned up the most that I could, and I gotta go get the rest of it through the dogs outside. I don't want their paws to get messed up or anything like that. So, but we're ready to rock. We made it in. I see I got a few people in here. I'm already recording for the podcast on the audio side. Do me a favor, if you haven't liked the video yet, if you haven't liked this live, hit that live for me right now. If you have not subscribed to me yet, do me a favor and do that as well. Please, I'm about 200 or I'm about like 24, 25 away from hitting 400. So I'm all about those even numbers. So make sure you help me out there. Pretty please. And we'll get rocking along here. And go ahead and, if you're in here, comment, drop a comment. I like to see that interaction. I like to answer questions, anything along those lines. So anything I can do to help definitely makes the stream a little more enjoyable when we got some talking and everything like that. But before we get into today's plays, as always, let's take a look back and see what we did yesterday. Yesterday we had what's up, Tony? Yesterday we had a frustrating day, I would say. I'll tell you what, though, guys. Like, I feel like we're always, pretty spot on with the plays. I'm never like dead wrong, and when I'm dead wrong, I certainly admit that. And that's kind of how I am in the Discord too. Like, it's like some fluke stuff that kind of has a loss, and that's gonna happen. Like, that's okay. Yesterday Paulo Banchero over 22.5 points. That was a big dud, unfortunately. Guy's a bum though. We were betting his assists for a while. Like, he was killing assists. I don't know how many assists he had, to be honest, but he shot 5 for 17 and 5 for 9 from free throw. So, and he ended at 15 points. So even if he would have hit all his free throws, it still wouldn't have been enough. I tweeted, like, what was it? Paulo missed another shot, Banchero, the other day. The guy's, I don't know, like, he's just got extreme volume, and then like kind of like SGA. SGA shoot the ball 100 times, have a lot of points. Banchero, a lot of shots, and they're just not falling, unfortunately. Porzingis, though, like that bet has been money for us, over 1.5 threes plus, and the money line, it was plus 108. I believe we got it. So super solid bet there. That one hit again at plus money. He actually had three threes. I had a little ladder play too with him and Edwards, and Edwards just, unfortunately did nothing. That one missed for us as well. But he only took 3 threes, which is quite shocking. And he actually had one where he was on the line. They called it a 2, which, I mean, for sure, like, it was. But, I mean, he should have essentially had 2 there. But if you go back to his last few games, he had 12, 7, 8, 11, 11, 9, 8, 8 attempts. And he only shot the ball 3 times. And he was in against one of the best matchups that he could have possibly had. And he only shot the ball 3 times. I mean, like, if that just doesn't describe gambling, I don't know what does. It's just like in football, like, any team that was playing the Bears were terrible against like stopping receiving running backs, and you're just screaming like, pass the ball to Jahmyr Gibbs, pass the ball to Eckler. Like, they would have these amazing matchups, and it's like, hey, like, coach knows that, right? Like, y'all know that they're not very good against the pass or to a running back. Same situation. I mean, like, perfect spot for shooting guards, but we move on. We'll move on to 3 more plays here, and honestly, like, I'm feeling pretty good about them. I feel like I kind of woke up and I'm seeing the board pretty well. I got a little builder play that I will share at the end here. I wanted to get to 100 likes and comments, which I normally do get, but it's Sunday morning. People are, finishing up church or hanging out with their family or something like that. If you're me, you're cleaning up glass all over the kitchen and still got some more to do. But we'll share that builder that I dropped in the Discord already. I don't know if it's moved or not, but it's a spot that I think that is going to be pretty favorable for us. And it's 1 o'clock, so we want to make sure we get some money in at 1 o'clock real quick, and then be able to double that up and, kind of move on for us and whatnot. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get into it here. Once again, if you're watching on the recorded or watching on the live, and then this is recorded too, I want to continue to make sure you guys know that if you're catching the live today, You can watch it on demand, literally like 30-minute, like literally as soon as I hit end, I'm pretty sure you can go back in there and watch it. So you don't have to catch it live. You can still hop in. You have all day to, support it on YouTube or listen to it on, audio versions and everything like that. But you can see the graph behind here. Buddy's over this so let's not worry about like that stuff to the left. We're only worrying about what's gone on while he's been a 76er. He's over this in 5 of 6 games that he's played with the 76ers. And I don't think I even said it's over 13.5 points is what the line is. Buddy healed over 13.5 points. Over 5 out of 6 in games that he played against the 76ers. The last game you can see he had 13. So he's been right there or really just flying over in all the games that he's had. And I think this is a spot where he's going to fly over, to be honest. He faces this Bucks team that just can't find their groove. And this feels like a game that the 76ers really could steal, to be honest. I think it's going to be a competitive game, which means that he should get plenty of minutes. He's played at least 32 minutes in every game. In fact, the last 2 games he just played 32. So he went over and he went under, on 2 sides of the hook there. So we can get, 34, 35. I mean, I think he's played almost 40 minutes in a game. So we can get him that plenty of minutes. He should be in a pretty good spot. This is also a solid matchup on the year. The Bucks have allowed the 2nd most points to shooting guards. So another great matchup, just like Anthony Edwards yesterday, unfortunately. But and then in the last month, they're allowing the 9th most. So it's not one of those where they were really bad in the beginning and they kind of figured it out for us. Like they're pretty consistently struggling against shooting guards. Embiid isn't out, obviously. So Buddy has done a great job of picking up that usage. Like Maxey can't do it all himself. Tobias Harris isn't all that great, to be honest. Every once in a while, there's a spot where I like to bet on him, but it's been months, I feel like, since I touched that guy. So we'll ride with Buddy over 13.5 points for the first play here. Second play is going to be our boy Kobe. We've gone to him like plenty of times over RA. It's at 9.5 right now, which I was pretty surprised to not see it at 10.5. If it moves to 10.5, I would be pretty comfortable playing it there, I think, too. He's over this pretty easily in 8 out of his last 10 games. As you can see, without LaVine on the court, he's hitting this at an insane 84% on the year when Zach LaVine is not on the court with him. Pretty sure LaVine's out for the year, if I'm not mistaken. Like, I don't follow like all these guys like super heavily, but I know the guy's been like super banged up. In the one game that he played against the Pelicans this year, he had 15 rebounds and assists combined on him. And that was without LaVine on the court as well in that game. McCollum is hurt and out. Was it Dyson, whatever it is? Daniels, he's also out. Zion, Brandon Ingram, both listed as questionable. Maybe one of those guys doesn't play. I think with the Pelicans banged up, we're going to have a pretty close game once again here, trying to target. Like, I'm not touching anybody on the Cavs or the Wizards because, I mean, that game is just screaming blowout obvious all over the place. What's it, like a 15-point line or something like that? Cavs are minus 875 right now on the money line, which is obviously is nuts. But I think it should be a close game. Admittedly, the Pelicans don't allow a ton of rebounds to guards, but they do give up a lot of assists, top 5, if I'm not mistaken. I didn't have that stat written down, but I do remember looking at it. But Kobe does a really good job of clearing the glass. He's a baller, not lazy type of guy. Like, he's going to go get some boards. He's going to get those assists, and he's been, clearing the number pretty easily. So we'll ride it over 9.5 for the second play today on Kobe White. And before we go with the third play, do me a favor. If you have not liked it or you have not hit the subscribe button for me, please do so. Please do so. Super close to hitting at 400. And then before you know it, I'm going to be at 500 and I'm feeling good. Trying to make some changes. Got some extra graphics here. If you haven't checked them out on the audio side, be sure to come over and check it out. I think it's looking pretty good. And from what I've seen, people have been able to enjoy it so far. Last play. Jamal Murray over 21.5 points. He's over this in 4 straight games against the Warriors, scoring at least 25 points in all 4 of them, 2 of them this year and 2 of them last year. The Warriors have played some pretty good ball here recently, and I think it's going to be another close game. This is another tight spread, competitive spread. Warriors have been playing tight, and Jamal Murray's been playing, like pretty good. He's just got a nice little history against the Warriors. But the Warriors have allowed opposing guards to have a pretty good game. Most recently, I mean, they played the Hornets most recently, so we're not going to worry about that because they don't have anybody good, obviously, on their team. But D'Lo went for 18 and Reeves 16 in the same game. Sexton 35. What's it? Keontae George 33 in the same game. Harden 26. Powell off the bench with 21. Devin Booker 32 the game before that, and that's kind of when I stopped messing around. I don't want to go on and on, but they've allowed guards to have some pretty good games. And he comes in this game a little banged up, but if he misses, it's whatever. I mean, it's a void. If he's questionable, if he says he's going to play, he's going to play. He's going to get his full minutes unless he ends up getting like re-injured or something like that. But what that means is that he has more rest than all the other guys on the team. I would expect him to hopefully have like an increase in minutes, if that makes sense. And then on 2 days of rest this year, he averages 21.7 points per game, which I mean is pretty good, right? That's right where that line is set. So when he has a little bit of an extended rest, he comes out and has a pretty good game. Unfortunately, I meant to write it down so I could say something, but the times that he had gone over these last few times, he actually didn't shoot very good from three. If I'm not mistaken, the most recent time, he was 1 from 6 from three. So if we can just get him to be, shooting a little better this time around from three, pick up a couple extra points from three, and it to be a competitive game, I mean, I think we're going to be looking pretty good. I don't bet on him very often, and it seems like every time I'm on like Jokic or Michael Porter or Aaron Gordon or something like that, it's Murray taking every damn shot. And it's like, dude, let somebody else shoot. Dude, let somebody else shoot. So hopefully this time around, it's like, hey, Murray, keep shooting. Murray, keep shooting. Murray, keep shooting. Shoot or shoot kind of thing. So hopefully we have ourselves a pretty good little solid little something there today. Let's see what else. Okay. And then here, lastly, we won't spend too much time on it, but I promise to give out a free, free quote unquote, builder VIP type play. This is the type of stuff that I give out in the Discord, try to keep it, pretty, safe type plays. Although in NBA, I've certainly pulled back and I'm doing more straights and stuff like that. Although some people call it straights builders. I don't know where they get the terminology, but this is a builder. A straight is not a builder. Let me pull my phone out here real quick, and I'll read off what it is for you, those of you that aren't watching on the graphic here. I had some notes about it because I'd given out a while ago. So to read it off for the people that can't see it, it's going to be Buddy Hield over 11.5 points as an alt line. Best to do these types of plays on FanDuel. Buddy over 11.5 points. Bobby Portis over 7.5 points. And then my face is kind of covering up, but that's Brook Lopez over 8.5 points. Let's see. So Buddy is over every game against the 76ers and the Bucks on the year, and they're allowing the second most points to shooting guards. So his minimum, I think, was 13. So, I mean, I'm expecting like a 20-point game, to be honest, from Buddy tonight. So, I mean, he should cover that 11.5, no problem. Next up, without Embiid, their paint defense has just been terrible. I mean, big men have been just destroying them, to be honest. I looked at Brook Lopez to be one of the like actual like podcast plays here. You go back, like Jarrett Allen has tore him up. Kongu has tore him up. Who was it just recently? There was somebody else before Jarrett Allen. Okongu was obviously a little bit ago because he got hurt. But anyway, like big guys have been able to tear him up. But like sometimes, like, Lopez will be sitting on just sitting at the arc, So like sometimes he doesn't really drive the lane like Bobby Portis will. Portis will lay down some like fat dunks on him. But Lopez is over this number in 9 out of 10 games against the 76ers, clearing this number like very easily. Like Brook Lopez has a really good history against the 76ers. All of those games have had Embiid involved, obviously. So hopefully in this case, since there's no Embiid, he's not sitting on, sitting at three instead of, playing inside a little more, being responsible for Embiid. But and then lastly, got Bobby Portis. Portis is over this in 9 out of his last 10 games. If you look at, Lopez here, we just need 3 threes. We need 2 threes and a 2. And then Bobby's been over this like double digits in multiple games in a row, 5 or 6 games in a row before he had that miss. And then once again, so nice little safe play I think I have for us here. So that's a plus 101 to recap then for the people once again not watching. It's going to be Buddy over 11.5. Bobby Portis over 7.5, and Brook Lopez over 8.5. That game does start in about an hour and a half. So I got to get this posted and get this on the podcast so y'all that are listening can even hear it. But unless anybody else has anything, you want to drop something in the chat if you have any questions or anything like that. In the Discord, I'm going to be doing. I got to get cleaned up. Gotta before I know it, the baby's gonna wake up. I gotta take everything out of the kitchen, sweep it because I don't want to step on it. I don't want my son to step on it. I don't want the baby if he ends up in there, the dogs, nothing stepping on glass. So I gotta clean all that shit up. But I got a college baseball play coming, but I think the games that I'm interested in don't start till 2, so I got plenty of time to mess with that. So so yeah, but to recap then here for the podcast on Lunchtime in the Lab, February 25th, we're going to ride with Buddy Hield over 13.5 points, Kobe White over 9.5 rebounds and assists, and then we'll wrap it up with Jamal Murray over 21.5 points. As always, I'm your host, Lunchtime in the Lab, brought to you every day. Thanks so much for listening. Be sure to follow me on all social medias at Live Joe Betts. And if you have not followed me on YouTube at Lunchtime in the Lab, make sure you're doing that. If you're watching this on the recaps on Shorts, Instagram Reels, or TikTok, come on over, check me out, watch the full video, get the full breakdown instead of just the recap. And go ahead and check out this outro. I'm going to see you guys back tomorrow.